By 1980, Fender, which at the time was owned by CBS, was in a bit of strife. They got themselves into a bit of a hole. Their production quality was pretty lousy, and generally people had turned off Fender guitars. They made a significant management change in the early 1980s, which led to the establishment of manufacturing in Japan. And it's an interesting story. In the early 70s to mid-70s, copies of Fender guitars started appearing out of Japan. The interesting thing was that these copies coming out of Japan were actually better quality than the guitars being made in the US by Fender at the time. And when Fender got hold of them, they realised that they really had to make some changes. And indeed, these Fender copies stimulated Fender to both increase their production quality in America as well as establish an operation manufacturing Fender guitars in Japan. Brands like Greco started manufacturing Fender copies. Another manufacturer from Japan was Tokai, again manufacturing a range of Fender copy guitars. Fender joined forces with a number of distributors who were marketing the brands of Greco and Tokai, for example, and they set up in 1982 Fender Japan, which then started manufacturing guitars under the Fender brand. But there was a double benefit to Fender, and that was that these copy guitars from Greco and Tokai disappeared from the market all of a sudden overnight. This 50s traditional Telecaster is a great example of what Fender Japan produces today. As I said, I've only had this guitar for a few months, but I'm very impressed with its quality and performance. In fact, I would suggest that the quality of these Japanese-made Fenders is as good, if not better, than anything that comes out of any of the Fender factories anywhere around the world. I think their quality is only surpassed by those custom shop guitars that, as you know, are very expensive. Let's have a look at some of the particular features of this guitar. The body is one-piece basswood. The neck is maple. And again, it's one piece. The neck finish is gloss urethane. And the body finish is gloss polyester. And as you can see, it has an opaque finish which allows you to see the grain of the timber. Being a reissue of a 1950s style Telecaster, Fender Japan have tried to get everything as period correct as possible. The pickups are Alnico single coils, and as you can see, the hardware is very authentic for the period. The frets are what's called vintage style frets. They're lower than the modern jumbo style frets, but they're still very well done and extremely well finished. For example, the fret ends are polished and extremely well finished on the neck. The fingerboard is maple and it has a gloss urethane finish. The tuners are again in keeping with the 50s style. They're obviously a Fender tuner, which is based on the Kluson type tuner, but I found them to be very reliable and the guitar stays in tune exceptionally well. Overall, as I said, I'm really impressed with the quality of this particular guitar. Fender's decision to manufacture guitars in Japan has brought them a whole range of product that's different in many ways to what they're currently manufacturing in the US or Mexico. As I've said a number of times in this video, I'm very impressed with the quality of this guitar. But another thing is the price. These Fender Japanese-made guitars are indeed great value. This particular guitar is around about $1,000. That's no more expensive than one made in Mexico. and I would suggest to you the quality of these Japanese-made guitars far surpasses those that are made in Mexico. There's a short video following which gives you an idea of how this guitar sounds. I purposely selected a middle-of-the-road jazz-type track, not something heavy rock and roll, to give you an idea of just how these Alnico pickups perform. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you're looking for a quality Fender guitar, I would suggest that you couldn't go past the Fender Japan range. They are really something exceptional, and they're very, very good value. Thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you next time.